Thanks for having me. Today I'm going to go through my 30 steps of success. So I'm going to warn you, it's going to be long, it's going to be painful. Gosh, you guys are more receptive than I thought you would be. I see this, I go kind of nuts. I kind of hate it when that happens. It's like super long steps. 15 minutes in, they're only at step 3. You're like, oh, when is this going to end? This is really painful. Sorry, I saw this at a conference. I thought I would troll you a bit. Step 1, you can't make an old man walk on eggs, is actually something my producer told me 2 days ago. So it's a true story that I'll explain in a bit, but it kind of gives you an insight to the weirdness of my talk. So I'm a director and artist from Geneva, Switzerland, currently based in London. Actually, I'm a graphic designer and typographer turned motion designer turned CG artist turned stop motion animator turned artist and director with a brief history as a rapper and a music producer, hence the sideways cap on my head. So I love making films. I love making films with no special effects that are CGI, just like keeping all my effects manual, exploring new techniques, new mediums, and I'm a Swiss graphic designer, so I'm very minimal about my things, and I try to incorporate that in my work. Which can get a little strange sometimes, like security guard kissing a golden triangular canvas, or hands coming out of a flower pot as a symbolic portrayal of the Arab Spring in Bahrain. 2 boxers hitting a punching bag, unless you can see something else. It's a bit cheeky, that one. Sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. So today I'm going to be talking about my projects and some sort of, my love for art-driven narratives. I'm a big fan of psychedelic cinema, surrealism, Dadaism. So if you're actually wondering what I'm doing at a UX conference, I'm kind of wondering as well. Yeah, thanks for having me here. I don't know how to code or do any of that stuff. I try to avoid being in front of the computer as much as possible, as a matter of fact. And I love to keep it real, which is like a cheesy hip-hop slogan, but it's true, like working on real sets with real people, even if it's for only 2 seconds of screen time, like this little clip back from 2010 that took literally like months to produce. It's kind of masochistic. I love getting my hands dirty, like really old school, and I think it's just fun. It's just fun to be able to work on projects, be able to do things yourself, be able to ask your close friends to wear uncomfortable costumes and do really horrible things, but it's all for the sake of art. So it's fun, and it's kind of my rule is to have fun on set, experiment, play. So for example, to get an image like this, which is an exploded human in the wall, obviously, you have to be like this for hours, like my friend Alex, if you kind of look at his face and that sort of painful expression. You were talking about Zen earlier. It's really getting to that peaceful state of mind where you forget that you're really trying to make this work for 5 hours. So I think it's great to have a kind of a wild imagination, and I'm kind of a big child. I love building things to destroy them, and I love destroying them and filming the process. So these are chocolate milk legs I created in my apartment, only to have them spill everywhere. This is both a painting that I made that I'm destroying and a big waste of ferns, sadly. This is a canvas that I painted just to burn it, and along with a mannequin with it. This is a supermarket set that we carefully built for 2 weeks, trying to find the right mechanisms of how it's going to work, and we kind of destroyed it afterwards. And this, by the way, addresses the crisis in the Eurozone, so the can of grease falling in the supermarket is a domino reaction to everything else falling. It's masochism, it really is. So this is a 3D print. So we 3D printed a Greek statue, only because it was cheaper than buying one, just so we could have the physical envelope to create a mold that we could then fill with white chocolate, 6 kilos of it, to have it melt for 3 seconds of screen time once again. So yeah, it's a bit crazy. Pouring paint out of computer screens, wasting a lot of spray-painted tomatoes, breaking plates and putting my girlfriend's face on it, wasting tons of A4 printing paper, wasting a lot of celery. Trust me, the worst part is actually explaining to my parents what I do. They're just like, Okay. And then that poor television. So this television set, again, I'm a Swiss designer. I get very meticulous about things, and I can't use any prop or destroy any prop for that matter. So I found this really cool TV with, look at that wooden frame online. And this guy was moving out of town. He sold it to me really quickly for really cheap. And he's like, man, just please take care of it. It's an old RCA from 1985. It's been with me, most of my life. And he's like, look at that wooden frame. And I'm like, yeah, look at that wooden frame. I'm gonna, turn it into a treadmill that spews out consumer products. Yeah. So I also made a catapult that fires golden paint at an actor for my Passion Pit video. And when I talk about experimental, we had no idea if this is going to work, and this is like the key shot of the music video. And we bought all the child-friendly golden paint in Montreal, and we only were able to buy 5 liters and make this big one balloon that we catapulted at high speed to this poor actor's face. And so we were kind of lucky it worked. And that's kind of always how I tend to do things, because in low-budget filmmaking, you don't necessarily have the time or the budget to come up with a duplicate of the effect, kind of like that white chocolate statue you saw earlier. So you got to make sure it kind of works. And this actor was actually working for free, and I didn't even know him. Usually I get my friends to do that, and they always pretend they're sick or something, but this guy actually did it. And he's actually the same guy who kisses the triangle at the beginning. So he's actually French kissing a stranger through a wall that he doesn't even know, obviously. So this is what the catapult test looked like. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Sorry guys, I'm not getting any sound actually. You have to hear the laughs. It's pretty. Anyway, no, not working. No, okay. So yeah, and this is this is a studio space. So this guy here, he's the one who lent us his studio. So he just acquired this brand new studio. They put the walls in. They just finished painting it. It wasn't open for business. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll let you shoot in here. And so we kind of melted wax all over the floor. We had fern leaves everywhere. We sent off the fire alarms by burning the canvas. But then yeah, you can see by his reaction, he's not too happy. So that's kind of what I do. I like having fun. So yeah, like I said before, I like experimenting with techniques and fun things. Wow. More recently, kind of different mediums and technology as well. So I've always been fascinated with the concept of freezing time and decomposing a simple movement, and just seeing all the complex interactions and rhythms and shifts that happen if you take this sort of photography, and how everything is kind of physically represented. So this is a picture from Harold Egerton from the 1920s, which is pretty crazy. And I was invited to expose a piece in Paris, a physical piece for an art show, which is really cool because I'd never done that before. And so I wanted to be inspired by Harold Egerton and represent a series of movements physically in space. Basically a sort of sculpture that's frozen in time, and that would tell a sort of story of these two people kind of playing this sort of weird ping pong against one another. But what was really cool is that I wanted to make this frozen sculpture come to life. So I got a projector in the room, and I started projection mapping the balls and the rackets, and in a really simple way. This, by the way, is super, super, super low budget, very easy to do. You just need Mad Mapper is very easy to learn. So it was simple, cool, and I think it worked quite well. So this is the video. Is this vodka? Thank you. So I mean, it's quite a simple thing, right? It's just like rackets. These are balls from like a ball pit that my daughter has with fishing line, and yeah, it was kind of like fun and simple to do. And trust me, the security guard who was outside my booth hated it. Just because it's always like, tuck, 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 and he was there like, for 24 hours kind of guarding the piece. I think he must have gone completely mental. But anyway, I mean, it was just a really fun opportunity, and I got to learn a lot about projection mapping. Yeah, no, it was a cool thing. So moving on, like I said before, I really like trying out new things and technologies and stuff like that. And I got a brief from Hello Play. I don't know if any of you guys know. It's like a Belgian electronic music platform, and they asked me to create a video for them. So really, kind of, I could do what I wanted. Basically, I just had to put their logo at the end, which was really cool. So I thought I would, I wanted to make a video that pays homage to the way electronic music is created, like a sort of tutorial, like how do you create a beat, with a kick, a snare, a synth sound, a clap. But instead of just portraying how the instruments look and the sounds they make, let's deform the instruments according to the sound they make. And of course without any computer-generated effects. So here is the film.
Electronic Music, Volume 1. First, plug in all devices. Don't forget the flower pot. Now start with a clap sound. That's better. Introduce a wobbly, jubbly bass. Load a synthesizer sample on the MPC. And finally, use a robust drum kick. Now, let's have a listen. Please crank that volume up. Yes.
So, thank you. So I've been wanting to play with 3D printing for quite a while. And, I thought, the best way to kind of translate how instruments make the sound they make is by kind of plugging all that up and trying to work with physics and particle simulations that you can do in CGI and actually try to get the actual sound that the instruments make going through those sorts of complex particle and physics simulations, only to then be able to 3D print every simulation frame by frame and then shoot it for real to have this crazy sort of CG animation, but in a very real space. So obviously I'm bad with computers. I didn't do this myself. I worked with some close friends of mine from Phenomena Labs. They work on feature films. They're kind of the hot shots Hollywood calls in when a shot isn't working that they're working on in terms of special effects. So, like the guy calls them up and like, oh, well, we needed you guys to come here. We're doing this shot where like a neighborhood is being destroyed, but the buildings on the left are like brick, and the buildings on the right are like cement, concrete, and the buildings are collapsing, and the wind is going this way, and the pedestrians are running that way, and then the cars are flying this way. But there's like an alien vortex that is sucking all the debris up and giving the aliens this sort of pathway to come to Earth with like big guns, and they start blasting everything. And so you have to be conscious of the physics of all that when working. So, and they're like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. So I mean, they kind of get to play God on a sort of physical level. So it was interesting kind of working with them here. It's obviously much more simple. So these were like accurate visualizations of like a kick sound, and just visualized differently. And the final result that we went through is technically slowly rising smoke that has the properties of chewing gum. So instead of dissipating, the smoke kind of coagulates and forms these sort of sonic frequencies. And actually that's what this effect is, which is really weird. So I have these prints at home. I look at them. It's like a sort of science experiment frozen in time. It's pretty cool. So again, here I got to learn a lot about 3D printing and physics simulations and stuff like that. So That was fun. So that video for Hello Play worked out quite well online, and so they just commissioned a new one. I just finished shooting this the day before yesterday, so I thought I would give you a sneak peek because the project isn't finished yet. They're cool. I love working with these guys. Haha. Yeah. So I kind of wanted to create a 360 video because I'm kind of trying to get into the tech world, and. So yeah, again, they give me kind of the freedom to do what I want, so I wanted to do a 360 video, and I thought, it would be cool, obviously this is related to music again, and electronic music, and it would be cool to have this sort of mockumentary that follows this sort of hermit, recluse, musical genius who has a special gift, is that anything he touches becomes a GIF loop and a music instrument at the same time. It's a very strange idea. So this is this is my guy. This is the musical genius here in a making of picture. And the step one when I was saying don't make an old man walk on eggs. Yeah, that's what my producer was telling me. It was for this guy because he was like, old. He's actually a really nice man. This is a really bad picture of him, but yeah, I wanted to make him walk on eggs. And the producer's like, you just can't do that to him. He's been up all day wearing the Pikachu costume, doing strange things. I basically wanted to turn him into a GIF loop as well, like boom, he would walk on eggs and then kind of loop that. And the producer, I don't know if you guys know Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared, the kind of web series. It's kind of a strange, anyway, so he works with them, so he's actually walked on eggs before, and he tells me it's a very uncomfortable experience. So anyway, so I did a kind of a 3D animatic just to see how this sort of studio space was going to work before doing it. So we're kind of in his studio, and he's showing us all his sort of musical instruments in 360. It looks crazy, it's just it's really weird. And each instrument creates an audio loop and a visual loop, which create a track. And so as he goes around the room introducing us to his human guinea pigs, we hear this track being formed real, except the guys make music in obviously the weirdest way imaginable. Like this would be the kick sound right here. 1, 2, 3, bam! This is my poor friend Will, who was sick during the shoot, and he was not supposed to be an actor and just helped me paint walls, and he had to fill the role in, so his face was not very bright when I asked him to wear the suit with the spiky bottom. And especially he had to do that over and over again. So this is it from the main camera. If you can imagine the beat, it would go like, so it's all, I'm very bad at beatboxing, but you can kind of imagine how these loops will transfer sound. This is the snare. Yeah. It's all about finding willing people, because obviously there's no security protocol. Like we're like, is 4 centimeters foam going to be enough for him to not break his neck? We don't know. And then the producer is trying to warn me to do some tests, but we don't have time. So again, I pray to whoever it is out there that things work out. This is me testing the percussion sound, which is just like crushing ice cream. So there's going to be a guy on a sort of Escher-like staircase. He's going to be horizontal, and as he jumps up, his head makes a sort of percussion sound. Which is obviously how you make percussion anyway. And this old man, for example, he invented dubstep, so this is one of his instruments, so it's a vacuum cleaner and sucking up toilet rolls like rub, 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 rub. So anyway, so that's it. So this crazy old man starts triggering these surreal human instruments, and we're kind of left looking around, literally all around us, at this sort of musical and visual cacophony. I don't know, can't pronounce that properly. But anyway, more to the fact that I'm lucky to be able to do these weird experiments, to have fun and especially living in London, to be able to do these weird tests, So I'm gonna the next and final project is the one that kind of allowed me to survive and pursue my dreams as an artist in London, and it's called Fortunes. So Fortunes is about me arriving to London without any money and a pregnant girlfriend, and just that whole situation, really. I couldn't even go out and get work or meet people because I was kind of stuck in my apartment all the time. I was working on a low-budget project from Montreal. So I was getting a bit of cabin fever, really. I was just stuck at home, a bit anxious, and kind of daily monotonous tasks started turning into these more absurd and strange ideas, and I was really honestly questioning my career and my life's choices, and I had all these kind of thoughts rummaging through my head about, what am I going to do here? I don't know, I was just very vulnerable and unconfident. So I decided to turn it into a film, because I was just like, I had a lot of emotion, and so this is the film called Fortunes, which relates to this period of dark uncertainty in my life.
This prediction of your future is sorely speculation.
Any resemblance to your own ambitions, whether dead or alive, are purely non-coincidental. Thank you for dreaming.
Fortunes, an experimental comedy on our relationship with consumerism, household rituals, and our objects of worship. Every day.
Ah. そしてマイカーで簡単にお持ち帰りといってもマイカー持ってきてません。そして気になるアイテムの場所をメモチェック。
Free yourself from every day.
Wasting a day, I'm just running away.
Is like a repetition. Repetition. Free yourself from modern slavery.
I walked into my bathroom. Shave every day. Clean nice and clean. Shave every day.
Every day.
Nice and clean.
Fuck. Repetition. 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 Every day. Fuck. Every day.
Nice and clean. I have a sad story to tell you. It may hurt your feelings a bit. Last night when I walked into my bathroom, I stepped in a big pile of shaving cream.
Thank you. So, I guess you're wondering how that can relate to like a personal experience. It just seems so like, I don't know if I can swear on stage actually, so WTF. But yeah, so I mean, in my state of mind, again, about to become a father, being broke and eating a lot of takeout with fortune cookie messages that always told you something really positive, and it was just like, I don't. So these fortune cookies here are kind of me telling myself to get myself together, if that makes sense. It's like slogans of motivation that I'm trying to, it's like my inner voice, basically. So this would be me like trying to piece myself together, like the IKEA man. Opportunity lies on the other side of your door if you're willing to open it, because I was in London and I was always in my apartment, so I felt like I was trapped. Again, this is sort of, it's all like these different visual representations of like my state of mind. I was becoming kind of hairy and careless at home, needed a shave, and yeah. This is my poor friend actually who was really hungover. He came to visit me in London. I'm like, man, we're gonna wear a grass mask, and he's like, no, I can't do it. I'm like, yeah, put it on. I can't see anything. Yeah, you're going to have to pretend to shave. And it's just, yeah, it's fun. This is me like waiting around for the birth of my daughter, religiously watching TV shows a lot, obviously. But anyway, we were like in a tiny, tiny apartment, and my stepfamily is Japanese, and really, yeah, you know, they are who they are, and it's that's hence the sort of Japanese subtitles and text, and I love them to death. But our apartment was very small, so we were walking all over each other all the time. So the bathroom was a place that I could actually find sort of refuge and peace and tranquility in this sort of mad household, again, because they are a bit intense. So this is like another visual representation of that. But anyway, yeah, this film was done with £100. Like, it was my cheapest project today. I did everything myself: the lights, the camera, the costumes, you know, you know, my friends wearing uncomfortable masks. And yeah, this film ended up winning at Cannes at the YDA, and it was crazy. Like, I shot this film in my apartment, you know, my cat was like destroying props. The stepmother was like coming in and out of the set, you know, where the lighting is very controlled. You can't have, and it's like, what are you doing? So, you know, with that image in mind, like going up to get my prize and like thinking that, you know, my film was like super low budget and light years away from like really professional selections was really amazing. So, and it helped launch me in London. Like, it got me representation, you know. So it's crazy. And yeah, I guess I'm just really happy I chose to invest my last £100 in grass masks and spray-painted TV antennas rather than getting a job. I was very lucky as well, but yeah. So basically, yeah, this project kind of allowed me to be here today in front of you guys. So I'm not going to end this by saying, you know, you can do it or take risks, but yeah, just by saying thank you. Thank you so much.